Hey guys, welcome to the Real Results Show, where we feature real health coaches and health practitioners getting real health results for their clients and themselves. As always, I'm your host, Brendan Vermeyer. I'm a clinical advisor for FDN, and I'm the director of our tribe's awesome association, where we support our community with ongoing education regarding a variety of different clinical and business building topics. So this week, I'm super stoked to have my friend Elene on our show. And we have some great information. So for those of you that can't stick around until the end of the show, I totally get it. There's stuff to be done. But drop the word aspiring, all caps, into the chat box below, and we can get you more information about FDN. So again, that's aspiring. So without further ado, welcome to the show, Elene.
Hey, Brandon. Thanks for inviting me.
Of course. I'm excited to have you here. You know, it's fun to just kind of riff and vibe with my fellow FDNs and hear their story about what brought them to FDN and what they're doing with their FDN credentials. So I'd love to kickstart this organic conversation by just hearing a little bit about, you know, what initially intrigued you about FDN and how'd you come our way?
Well, I used to weigh a lot, like 232. And that was my main focus for my health, because I was really pretty healthy, but I couldn't figure out how to get my weight down and hold it down. And so I just kept looking and looking and looking and tried a bunch of different diets and, you know, just went through the whole process like people do. And I kept different things from different diets that seemed to work for me, and ran across Michael McAvoy and hired him to be my health coach. And I realized that he was an FDN. And as I went along, I realized that, of course, optimal health was the goal and weight loss was the result. And in the process of that, I sent a lot of people to Michael, and I sent a lot of people to other functional practitioners when I figured out how functional worked. And then I thought, well, what am I, a chopped liver? I can learn this. So I decided to sign up and be an FDN, and that's the story.
Hey, I mean, it works. You know, it's always fun to hear how people got into it, because ultimately most of us are, you know, kind of education freaks. We're very curious and also very, you know, we take ownership of our health rather than looking externally or, you know, projecting our issues onto other people. We're like, no, I'm going to figure out what I can do to take control of my life and take control of my health, and take that ownership and use a scientific model with a holistic approach, you know, to help ourselves get to where we want to be. And then the beauty of it is we can then turn around and help clients, you know, through that process as well. Kind of these, you know, self-healing, you know, guides on that path. So primarily it was weight loss that was your kind of main health complaint.
Yeah.
Did I hear that right?
Yeah, I thought I was the healthiest fat person that I knew. And I knew that that couldn't really last. So I didn't really want to give up another day of my life going to the closet and wondering which circus tent I was going to wear that day. So I decided to wrap my head around it. And I said, yep, I'm smart. I can do this. I'm just gonna make this happen. And that's what I did. So it took me about 6 months to complete the course. And I graduated in last November. And since then I've gotten a bunch of clients, but the thing I love about it is giving people hope and giving people the ability to get off the medications if that's what they want to do, and turn it around. People, they're bogged down by health issues, and they have no recourse. They don't know what to do. And it's so simple. It's the DRESS protocol that we learned in school, and that if you don't do the whole thing, you don't get healthy. And I love teaching people that. That's my very favorite thing to do, is talk to people about ideas to make modifications in their life so that they can get the skills that they need to make this part of their life.
I love that. I love how earlier, you said, even though you're really focused on losing weight, you came to realize that, you don't lose weight to get healthy, you get healthy to lose weight. And, certainly, the personal trainer in me, loves that, because obviously that's kind of a huge issue. As a lot of people, they look at, oh, well, I lose weight and I get healthy in the process. And no, it's the other way around. You get healthy and the weight loss is really a side effect of that. And so I love that, it brought you to FDN, and, rather than being intimidated by all the science and all the whatever, you're like, heck yeah, I can learn this, I can do this, and I can turn around and help people. And as you said, like, we don't medicate, we educate. It's not our job or responsibility to tell people what they should or shouldn't do with medications. We're here to educate and empower them on what they can do to take control of their health. And very often that ends up, leading to, oh, well, they go to the doctor and there's no need for the medication anymore because they feel great. The underlying issues have been resolved. And it was the FDN that educated them and empowered them to have that capability. So I'd love to hear a little bit about, some of your favorite aspects of FDN, or, how your experience has been with, the community, which you're a strong part of with our AFDNP tribe.
Yep. I really love the ability to not have to understand every aspect of every lab that we run or, suggest for our clients. We have the resource of the medical director program with FDNs that have been doing it for ages, and we get feedback from them on what the lab scores are, the correlation, the how to apply it. And each time that I sign into that for a lab review, I learn a lot, and I don't feel pressured to learn it all at once. I don't have to know that, because I have a vast resource behind me, and I can just learn as I go. And I don't feel like I'm cutting my clients short at all with my lack of knowledge, because I have a broad base of knowledge with our Facebook page that I'm a member of, and all the resources that we have available within FDN. It's great.
Absolutely.
Big backup.
Yeah, it's the collective consciousness, that is our community. Everybody has a different background. Some people have been in the health and or fitness kind of holistic space, for many years. Other people are brand new to it, but we all bring a wealth of knowledge. And, I'm a firm believer that every person, every human has beautiful gifts that they have that nobody else has. And we can all, identify what those are by looking inwards and cultivate that. So that's kind of the beautiful thing about, the FDN community, is we're all very like-minded, and there's a place for everything. And we put all of our heads together, for the greater good. And so, as you alluded to, you don't have to be kind of scooting over so you guys can see me in the sunlight. I'm in Arizona, so I don't have my normal setup, but, one of the big things, like you said, is the medical director program, where, it's impossible for any practitioner to know everything about everything. It's just too much, but that's where, as you said, we have the clinical advisor team to help guide, our FDNs through their cases, or even detective hour like we just did. So that's awesome. Tell us a little bit about how you got your business started after graduating, because that's always one of the, the harder aspects of the process. It was
a giant jumble. Couldn't keep up with who was doing what. Finally, we have other businesses that are on QuickBooks, so I just put it on QuickBooks, and I'm just not set up in that way great. I can keep up with it, but I need to find a plan that works for me better than what I have right now. And I'm coming to the conference in a couple of weeks. Yay! And I'll get to meet everybody, and I'm really excited about the speakers, but I'm also excited to meet people and visit with people one-on-one about how they have their systems set up and how they keep track of their records. And that sort of leads me to what else I wanted to talk about was the future of how I'm going to set this up. I don't really know how it's going to be. I don't even know if I want to get bigger than I am right now, because right now I'm kind of meeting with people in their homes and I really get to know them. So it's really a great opportunity for me to be pretty intuitive about my suggestions for their dress protocol. It's very, very personal. And so I'm kind of torn between that and getting bigger. And then I know I want to get a little bit more automated so that I can give feedback, better accountability, those kind of things. Like if we're working on eating more cruciferous vegetables this week, I can do automated texts and stuff like that just to keep everybody in the game. So I'd like to have some sort of automation. And I'm not really sure how I'm going to go about that, but I see that. And a good friend of mine is, we've just gotten a camera and we're going to get all set up to do a YouTube channel. So that should be pretty fun. And we're going to get started on that pretty quick. So that's kind of how I'm going to grow and develop and just sort of add in stuff as I go, rather than trying to do it all at the same time at the very beginning.
Absolutely. And, you know, that's kind of the fun thing. And it's a learning curve. It's like, you know, I never set out on the career path I did because I necessarily wanted to be like an entrepreneur or a business owner. But, you know, I have always looked at it as like, you know, if nobody is going to offer you your dream job, why don't you just make it, you know, make it yourself? So I wouldn't have it any other way. And it's definitely been a learning curve. I've, you know, been an independent professional for, I don't know, 7-8 years at this point. You know, and over that time, I've learned a lot. But that's the beautiful thing about FDN is, you know, we'll teach you the basic methodology with our level 1 certification program. We're about to launch our level 2 curriculum and, you know, all that. For those of you graduated and watching, stay tuned. You know, but it's not just the methodology. We do offer so much ongoing support with business development because, you know, if you're like me or Elene, you know, you didn't necessarily become a practitioner or health coach or, you know, health professional to build a business. And you might not necessarily know how, but that's the thing within our community, within our AFDNP and our ongoing resources, we provide, you know, everything you could possibly need. So as you said, going to the conference, our conference speaker lineup is kind of divided.
Awesome.
You know, it's like, it is pretty awesome. I mean, I'm a little bit biased, but it's a pretty sick lineup. But, you know, we've got a variety of clinical and business building topics at the conference. You know, we've got a handful of us are, you know, lecturing on science. And then we've got another handful of people lecturing on, you know, business development or marketing. So certainly the FDN conference by itself is going to be an amazing resource to, you know, further your education and further your resources. And, but, you know, that's the thing is you even said, so you didn't have a health background before joining FDN, correct?
No, I've been very conscious. Like the first argument my husband and I had 43 years ago was he wanted white bread. And I said, no, we're having whole wheat bread. So you know, I've within the limits the knowledge that I had at that time, I was pretty conscious of it. But no training whatsoever. I'm really more of a rah-rah person. You know, I get excited for people. I like to give hope. I like to connect with people and connect people with other people. Like when I refer out to, for instance, my lymphatic massage therapist. I love doing that because I'm looking around for all the best people that I can refer out to. And then I'm confident they make me look good. I make them look good. And the client is super happy because they're top notch. So yeah. I love doing that.
Yeah. Well, and you're an empath and you're a team player, you know, and there's no ego in that equation, you know, and I think that's one of the beautiful things about the FDN tribe is we all really are a lot of, you know, a bunch of us are just very empathetic. We're, you know, team players. We kind of check the ego at the door because we recognize that there is no place for ego in the journey of self-healing.
No.
I feel like I should write that down or something, but
make a meme.
Yeah, I know, but I wanted to kind of, you know, point that out where, you know, we need so many more FDNs as kind of the general of our tribe. Yeah, I'm actively recruiting because we have an amazing tribe, but we need so many more. And I don't ever want people to be intimidated by, you know, the rigorous curriculum, because it's like, you don't have to learn anything. You have to be willing to learn, and you have to want to help people, you know, and that's the thing. To your point, believe me, I know some of the most brilliant science people in the world, but you know what? I've seen even the most brilliant science people not able to help anybody because they can't relate, they can't connect, they can't energetically, you know, motivate, inspire, educate, and empower the other individuals. So that's the thing. I love how even without a health background, you blazed through the course, you immediately started getting clients. And it's almost one of those, you're in a phase of you're trying to get your feet under you before you can keep running, because this is such this methodology is in such high demand that the people start coming before we even necessarily have all of our fancy business systems set up. So it's an amazing problem that you have. And I think it really speaks to the power of FDN and the power of what it can do when you are motivated to inspire hope in others. And I love that you said that, because there is nothing more fulfilling than seeing somebody's eyes light up with hope when they've lost hope because they've had doctor after doctor say, we can't find anything wrong with you, or it's all in your head, or, you know, people that have suffered for years and years from debilitating, you know, chronic health complaints that nobody's getting to the root of. So I don't know. I have the utmost respect for what you're doing, and even just joining me on the Facebook Live tonight to talk about it all.
Yep. It's exciting. It really is exciting. That's what keeps me going, is helping people get their life back, getting their power back. My biggest pet peeve is the victim mindset.
Yes.
I have this, I have that, I have this, I have that. You don't have it. Don't own it.
Mm-hmm.
You're perfectly made. We just have to figure out how to take away what's causing the inflammation and give your body what it needs to heal. And the DRESS protocol can do that. That's why I love it.
You could not have said that any better. That resonates with me so hard. With there's just like a plague of victim mentality. And that's where, unfortunately, I think the way that our healthcare system is set up from a paradigm standpoint, it fuels and facilitates. And so in a way, I feel like just now in our society, we're starting to observe the destructive and toxic psychological patterns that our mega, you know, government-run systems have kind of facilitated. You know, it's like this psychological side effect that's happening where, because it's always been this very dictator model of, I am Mr. Doctor. If I say it doesn't exist, it doesn't exist. And like, you know, I fix everything. You are reliant on me to treat you. You are this disease. You know, it's such a,
and I think we've all had that experience.
Destructive model.
It is. Yeah. And we've all had that experience. Every one of us, just, you know, being a young pregnant mother, I was told I needed a C-section. And I found out later that it was for the doctor's convenience. Well, you know, thanks.
Yeah. You know, and I'm not here to like pick on doctors, but more point out to show how it really is. We have to empower the client on how they can heal themselves, because without that self-ownership of I've taken my power back and connected with my higher consciousness, and I have the power to heal nobody else has the power to heal you. You know, I mean, sure, surgery and drugs are needed sometimes to save lives, hands down, but nobody can heal you and give you the quality of health and life you deserve but you. The FDN practitioner is just there to teach you how to do that.
Right.
You know, and it's such a beautiful thing. And that's where, like, when you look at the way FDN practitioners operate, well, it actually is very psychologically sound and valid. It's a more psychologically sound model than anything else I've seen, which is why I do it. You know, because nothing else works.
That's right. You have the power to fix this.
Yeah. Yeah. Educate and empower.
For people to realize that they do have that power it's mind blowing, really.
Mm-hmm. Well, and a lot of it too is, you know, I think there's a lot to be said for seeing is believing, because, you know, with the FDN model, we really look at it as, you know, the path to self-healing. Okay, step one intervention is lifestyle and environment, you know, lifestyle and environment. That's our first line of defense. Now, obviously, that's a lot of things, which is why, you know, we take a holistic health coaching approach to guide them through, you know, the changes that need to be made to the lifestyle and the environment through behavior modification. But then the second line of defense is intelligent supplementation that's based on objective data with the lab testing. And then, of course, conventional healthcare, which everybody should go see their doctor once a year just for kicks and giggles. But, you know, that's the ultimate safety net. That's the last stage, the emergency intervention. And so because, you know, we are using, you know, this root cause model, a lot of times what it turns to be is the lab testing really just validates why we need to apply the lifestyle and environmental intervention that we're recommending. Because, like, for example, hormone test, if your hormones are all whack and messed up, you don't need hormone replacement. What you need is to improve your lifestyle and health, because you know what I mean? Like,
so everything works right.
You're picking up what I'm putting down, you know? Yeah.
100%. You just got to get the body so that it works optimally. And that's what it's about. But,
and it's removing the triggers, preventing the body from healing, right?
Yep. And given those supplements that the body's been craving for because of our diet, or because of inflammation, or because of gut mess up, that are going to help balance it out. So give the body a kickstart. Yeah,
you know, and address those key hidden stressors that, you know, I like to think of them as kind of the kinks in the chain that's messing up the whole system. And, you know, that is where, since we are holistic minded, we see how everything's interconnected. Whereas, you know, it's just now that most physicians are kind of starting to go, oh, like, actually, your heart health is connected to your gut health, whereas we've always separated those things like in a isolated vacuum, which makes no sense because it's all connected right here. But man, I could riff on this stuff all day.
That's right. Me too. And the brain connected to the gut, which people have really just, they haven't wanted to think about it. They haven't acknowledged it. It's such a stretch that it's taken a while for that thought to catch up, or to even be incorporated, that we could do more than just give some kind of antipsychotics or antidepressants, or, you know, that there is a gut-brain connection. And so it's a huge paradigm shift for people to come to this way of thinking. But I think once they do, it's like the light comes on, and then then they're like, oh, it's not we give this for that thing anymore.
Right. You're so right. And it's such a generational thing too, you know, where previous generations, hey, you know, it was a whole different set of domestication from society that, you know, programs their belief system that's not actually theirs, but they don't recognize that. You know, it's your programming is faulty, but even with current generations. So I think, you know, obviously with time, we're only going to see it moving in that direction more and more. But you said it perfectly, where it's such a, you know, light bulb comes on moment. And it's like, once you become, you know, aware, you're never going to be unaware again. You can't become unaware of something that you just woke up to. So, you know, once you do get it and it clicks in the holistic, you know, functional paradigm, well, then it's just like, well, gosh, nothing else ever made sense until now, you know?
Right. This puts all the pieces together, and then they see why their sleep has to be right. Your sleep has to be right. I fought it harder than any of my clients have fought it. But the idea that every hour before midnight is worth 2 hours after midnight of healing, that's profound. And you can't just go to bed at midnight and get up at 8 and think you're going to get your 8 hours and be not groggy and you're most productive. Like, sleep is huge. And we've really never addressed that before in any paradigm for healing. So,
yeah, you're so right. And, you know, it really is like the science and the objective data ultimately points us back towards nature, you know, in a more natural way. And it's like the further we get away from a more natural way of living, the sicker we're all getting. And, you know, the problem with our healthcare system, as far as why the chronic disease epidemic is still only on the rise, despite having the best technology with drugs and surgery ever, you know, so I always say that, but that right there, it's like, well, okay, the problem is not our lack of technology with drugs and surgery. The problem is our lifestyle and environment. And so, you know, that's kind of the funny thing around it is, you know, as a world, as a nation, as a system, you know, we're trying to take very toxic bodies, very unhealthy metabolisms and bodies that are unwell because of the lifestyle and the environment. And then we're trying to take drugs and surgery to force it to keep up with a lifestyle that it was not built for.
You can't,
you know,
can't do it. And that's what makes the dress protocol so simple, because, at the same time, it's simple, but it's hard because you have to do it yourself.
Totally.
You can't just put it off onto somebody else and say, well, I'm just going to take this pill and maybe it'll go away. And you can't, but that's what makes it so fascinating, is that the most simplest thing is the thing that works.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Imagine that you can't get away with your high speed, high stress, low nutrient, toxic. You can't get away with that forever. You can't just medicate your way in. Whoa, if only it were that easy, but that's not reality. And, you know, I think the people that are stuck in their healing are the ones that are in denial about some harsh truths that they got to wake up to and accept and embrace if they want to see the light.
That's right. That's right. They do part of it, but the other parts are sticking points.
Totally.
And they just got to get through it.
Yeah. You know, I could really riff on this all day, but we're starting to run low on time. So couple things. One, riddle me this. What speaker are you most excited about for the FDN conference?
I think Karen Krishnan, just because I've followed him for several years, and the total gut restoration protocol that is their products. I feel like that's how I start all my clients, because if anybody has a problem, they have a gut problem, and it's a really good thing to get out of the way at the beginning so that we can, the body will kind of settle out, and then we can address, you know, it's an easy thing to knock out. And it'll just be fun. He has great energy, and he has the potential to help vast amounts of people. He's somewhere every single day, it seems like, all over the world, teaching doctors and everybody how to use his products. And I just see the vast potential. And just looking at him makes me smile because of that. Yeah.
Yeah, he's an amazing dude. I have to just like cut myself off because some of his employees were like, "Oh, you're the guy that has a man crush on Karan." It's like, okay, that's exaggerating it a little bit, but the dude is seriously a really good role model in what is, you know, just
he has a good family story and the whole
good,
thing. He's a good guy.
So, Elene, where can people learn about you if they want to get in contact with you?
Well, my Facebook page, like all the rest of my background business, is just in the beginning stages, but it's EleneMurray.com, ELENE Murray, MURRAY.com. or they can find me on Facebook, Elene Murray, FDN, or FDNP, actually, practitioners at the end. Or they can email me at healthyfairy@gmail.com. And it's healthyfairy, HEALTHE fairy, because I started with an email list when I kept my nephew, and I wanted to keep in touch with him because he was feeling better by being on the diet that I had him on. So that's how I made up the Healthy Fairy thing. I was sort of like his fairy godmother, but I wanted it a little snappier. So healthyfairy@gmail.com.
I love that. And I love that we got the backstory to that too. That was cute. Well, very cool. Thanks so much for being on tonight. And, for those of you watching, thanks for tuning in. Please, share. If this resonated with you and you felt the information was valuable, then I would ask you to, don't keep it a secret, share it. I shamelessly am recruiting for my AFDNP army because we've got a world to save and somebody's got to do it. So we're going to do it.
Right.
But keep in mind, you can drop the word aspiring into the box like some of you have already done to get more information about what it takes to become an FDN practitioner and an elite AFDNP member. But also we have that conference coming up that we've been talking about tonight. That's November 1 through 3 in San Diego, California. So it's coming up in a hurry. But I've been telling everybody, all my friends that ask me about it, that would be the best way to figure out if it's right for you. It's going to be a huge gathering of our community and our, friends in the industry and whatnot. Really educational event. And you'll know very quickly, like either this is exactly where you're supposed to be or it's not at all your vibe and you're going to run. But it'll be a great time. But Elene, I'm super excited to see you there. And will I see you in the oat workshop too?
I have to go home Sunday night, but I know it. I agonized over that. It took me ages to get my plane ticket because I kept thinking, well, maybe I can stay one more day.
It's all good. My heart will mend. It will mend. I'll just take more fish oil. There'll be the course too. Well, I can't wait to see you there. It's going to be an amazing event. And again, thanks so much for being on the show tonight. And I'm sure we'll talk soon.
Yes, we will. Thank you, Brendan.
Awesome. Thank you. Everybody have a wonderful night. We'll see you next week.